If we are not actively checking in with ourselves and determining what our identity is and who we want to be, and if we're happy with that, and if we need to make some tweaks, your environment and your world and the things around you are going to start affecting your identity. And it might not be the way that you want it to. Hey guys, I thought we would do something a little different today. This is going to be a little tea talk. I want to just talk from the heart. What I want to talk about today is if you're struggling with identity in your 20s or 30s or 40s, wherever you may be, what you can do to really build a better sense of identity and tangible tips and actions that you can take to really figure out who you are, who you want to be, and feel like you have that strong sense of that. We often think that everyone else just has it like figured out and everyone knows exactly who they are, what they want in life, everything. That I think is partially because social media is to blame there. People do just make it feel like they have it figured out. You might be in a situation where you've been working for a while at whatever job or career you've picked. Maybe you've bounced around a bit. Maybe you just don't even know what you enjoy doing. Sometimes we feel this insane, overwhelming pressure, like everyone else knows what they want and we don't. So let's talk a little bit about that. One of the big things that you can do when you're struggling with your identity and really understanding who you are is to think back to childhood. If you can meditate on this or journal about it, I think that really helps. It's about thinking back to, what did I love doing as a child? What qualities did I have as a child? Maybe you were someone that you always loved to draw. Maybe you always loved to be outside. Maybe you loved playing sports. Whatever it may be, you loved scrapbooking, you loved playing doctor. Think back on what you loved and ask siblings, ask parents, ask anyone that knew you during the time and see if they have anything that comes up as well. But write all of that stuff down and look back at it and see which of those things still make you smile, or which of those things you're still drawn to. For me, for example, I loved starting businesses as a kid. It was my favorite thing. I was that kid out there with a lemonade stand. I was the kid that was trying to design my own products. I was constantly trying to start my own businesses. I was pretending I had a nail salon and having my sister come in, and I was doing her nails. Hi, Marissa. I was just always entrepreneurial. Like, that is always who I was from such a young age. And I don't know where or why I learned that, but I just was fascinated with that and I loved the creativity of it. I loved that. I loved art. There were just different things that I was drawn to. I think the beauty of looking back upon that time, that was a time before society was pushing norms on you. What should you be doing? What should your life look like? What should you be reading? What should you be focused on? So think back to that and really, really notice how you feel when you think about certain things. Because I think that tells a lot about who you are. If you can notice some common threads between the type of activities you really enjoyed and you can bring that back into your life, that'll really help you connect deeply to a sense of identity. I think that when we lose all of those things and we start to lose our identity is when we typically, for most people, we go through the school system or, at the end we go to work or whatever it may be. We slowly lose a lot of the activities we enjoyed because of time. It's mainly like we go to school and, we get homework. We have this predetermined curriculum that we have to do. I remember I loved writing. Writing was my favorite, like fiction writing. I loved it. I still do. I hope to write a book one day. I remember begging my English teacher, could we please do just one fiction assignment this year? This was probably, I don't know, middle school or early high school when they try to get you to stop doing that, which is sad for creativity purposes. And she was like, I'm sorry, no, it's not in the curriculum. And I was like, dang. Like all these book reports and everything, they're so boring. And I just wanted to do fiction. And you then start to dislike a lot of that stuff. Like I loved reading, I loved writing, and I started to dislike those things because I was being forced to use topics that I didn't care about. I was forced to do it in a manner that wasn't creative. When you think about your identity, you think about the things you love, you might start to say, oh yeah, I really loved art, but then, in school when I took art classes, we didn't get to do the type of art I liked, and there was all these rules and guidelines around it, and then I didn't really like it anymore. I just stopped having time because I got so busy, and then I went to college, and it was too hard to keep up with. Look at the journeys for the things that you love the most and kind of like when they started to taper out. Think about, okay, where am I right now in my life? Like, how could I implement things that are creative? How could I implement things that allow me to tap back into those parts of my identity? So this is where you have to take action, because nothing in your life is ever going to change if you don't take action. Where I would start here is, if you made that list and you journaled, circle the things that are most interesting to you. You might have thought of a lot of things you did as a kid. Maybe you have a good list going. Go back through that and circle the things that are most interesting to you. Let's use, for example, painting, reading fiction, and baking. Let's just pick those. Pick a few things, 1 to 3, and say to yourself, okay, when can I block even 1 hour a week to start where I am going to do one of these things during that time? Maybe on Sunday afternoons, you are going to let yourself paint for an hour, or read a book, or bake. To build identity, you have to think about how your identity was taken. So if your identity was taken through repetition of years and years of slowly tapering off something and taking something away, you have to build it back. And that means starting to build it by days and weeks of doing something again. Because if you want to be a person that is artistic and likes to paint, you have to do it, right? I'm not going to call myself a painter if I never ever paint. You don't have to do it every day. You don't have to make your whole life about it. But you have to think about, how can I take action and implement this in a way that makes me happy, where I can enjoy it, and it becomes part of my identity. I think that's a good way to start, is start small and don't try to implement everything back in at once, but take the things that really resonate the most with you, and you can always change them. Maybe you start doing one and you're like, ooh, actually, I don't miss painting. I thought I did, but I don't. Okay, that's fine, cross it off. Pick the next thing, that's okay. You can change your mind. Always, 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 you can change your mind. You don't have to decide something for the rest of your life, Focus on what works for you now. I think that that's a good way to start getting your identity back. The other thing that I wanted to mention is to think about who I am now and what I want to continue and what I want to stop. So I might write another journaling list and say, I'm someone that I do these things on a weekly basis. My days look like this. I might look back through there and be like, you know what? I really want to stop watching a certain show. I don't want that to be who I am. I don't want to be the type of person who watches this reality show. I'm going to cross that off. And then I'm going to think about, what can I replace that time with? You don't want to be bored, right? You want to think of something that you can replace your time with. And that's where our list before comes in handy, because you can take those items of things that you want to build your identity with, and you can just slot them in and take out the old habits that maybe are not serving you. I feel like so much of why we feel like we have no identity nowadays is we are all watching the same things on TV. We are all getting served the same things on social media. A lot of us are working at similar jobs where we might not feel fully passionate and fulfilled. Yeah, we kind of feel like, I just feel like the same as everyone else. I feel like there's nothing interesting about me, nothing unique about me, but there is. I'm here to tell you there absolutely is. You just might have let it get buried a little bit along the way, but it's still inside. Do yourself a favor, dig that back out, because you will feel so much happier, so much more fulfilled, so much more yourself, and so much more of a clear identity as to who you are when you dig that back out and you practice it on a weekly basis. I'm gonna leave you with one more thing if you're feeling stuck, another journaling prompt, and it's a wish list is what I would call it. I want you to think about yourself and think about who you want to be, what I want to start. We've talked a little bit about what I want to stop and maybe continue, but more so, what do I want to start? So when I think about myself and my identity, I look at my list of what I liked as a child. I look at the things I'm doing now that maybe they don't align with me so much. And then I think about, what do I want to start more of? Well, I want to start more of the painting, or I might want to start baking, and I'm really interested in trying to learn how to make XYZ. I thought back on my childhood and my identity, and I always was a really unique, creative person, and I don't feel like the way that I'm dressing conveys that. And so I want to start caring a little bit more about how I dress and changing my style a little bit. That's what I want to start doing. I want to start being the type of person who keeps promises to other people. I want to start being the type of person who people can rely on. I want to start being the type of person, fill in the blanks. Who do you want to be? Get really clear on that. Again, you can make a whole big list, but I want you to go back and only circle top few things. Because if you start doing everything, you will feel so overwhelmed and lost. Just pick the top few things, really prioritize. You can always come back to this, put it in a journal somewhere so you can reference it, put it on your phone and your notes app. But for now, I just want you to start with the top few things. Don't overwhelm yourself. And I want you to put them on your calendar as little reminders, recurring weekly or daily or whatever it may be, whatever works for you. For example, I want to be the type of person that reads more fiction. So you know what I did? I thought about, how can I implement this into my life? I put the Libby app on my phone. I put a widget so it's quite large and I see it every time I open my phone. And I see my book that I'm currently reading. I see what percentage I am through with that book. All gamification, really good things that get you going, make you want to read. And you know what I did when I first started doing this? I put time on my calendar and I would get a notification at 8:30 that would say reading. And that really helped me build a habit. It takes 21 days to build a habit. You need little cues. Read Atomic Habits if you haven't yet. You need to make it easy for yourself, because if you want to have a certain identity, make it easy for yourself to do that. If you decide to have all these crazy ideas of like 20 different things you want to do and identities, but then you don't put a single thing on your calendar, you don't do a single thing for yourself to make it easy, it's really hard to make that happen. But if you decide you want to be someone who works out more and you find a Pilates studio and you book the next 10 classes and you put those on your calendar and you know Mondays and Tuesdays you're going to Pilates, you are so much more likely to achieve your goals and make that part of your identity. I feel like systems are just so underrated. They are amazing and they can be so simple as putting something recurring on your calendar, as simple as putting your sneakers in a place where you see them and it makes you think that you want to go for a walk outside, as simple as getting yourself a fun new baking set and putting it somewhere that you can see it so you get excited about baking. Just make it easier for yourself with your environment. Before you know it, your identity will change. And the person that you will have to thank for that will be yourself. It is my belief that if we are not actively checking in with ourselves and determining what our identity is and who we want to be, and if we're happy with that, and if we need to make some tweaks, your environment and your world and the things around you are going to start affecting your identity. And it might not be the way that you want it to. Chances are, if you're watching this and you don't feel like you have a strong identity or know who you are, you might feel that way already. The world is just starting to shape you, and you might not like that. Try these tips. Let me know in the comments down below what you're struggling with your identity. If there's anything that you are excited to implement in your identity, I would love to know what you enjoyed doing as a kid, because I think that it is so fun to hear that and see like what we intrinsically loved as children. How fun is that before people told us what to do? That's such a beautiful thing, and I think that you need to honor it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you aren't already for more videos like this, and share this video with a friend. It's fun to have a little accountability buddy along the way. Love you guys, and I can't wait to see you in my next one. Bye.